Thank you so much. And Jennifer and Vincent are going to be part of a conversation that we're going to be having with you today. I'll be on stage most of the time and they'll come up periodically, but I wanted you to see who they are. So when they come up on stage, you're going to understand that there's a reason why they're coming up. So have a seat, relax, and we'll call you up at the appropriate time. So let me share with you what this next 45 minutes to an hour is going to be like. What we're going to do here is something that we do literally around the world with education institutions, with corporations, with esports programs, federations, and even government, where we will talk about the idea of gamification. In some terms, in some places, the term is called project-based learning or immersive experiential learning. We're going to talk about ways in which we can ultimately, tailor to the audience here, think about how do we use the concept of esports and play and gamification to increase your sales, your relationships, and the ability to do what you do best and what your goals and objectives are. So I'm going to spend some time first starting off with a little bit about who we are. So if you could put up the PowerPoint for me. So as you can see, the title is about the power of sales. And we're going to talk about something that's a bit foreign maybe for some of you. And that is that I don't like the concept of transaction business. I think transaction business is impersonal, and it is temporary, and it provides little or no sustainability in who you are and what you do. And I'm going to talk about how you can change that paradigm in what we talk about. You're also going to hear me talk about the concept of who your customers and clients are today are not going to be your customers and clients in 3 to 5 years. Because the idea of gaming, esports, AI, VR, those are going to be the technologies that are going to drive sales and relationships in what you do. And the audiences are very different than the standard audiences you may be used to selling to. Instead, it's going to be corporations, it's going to be more B2C and less B2B, it's going to be educational institutions, and it's going to have a different flavor and concept to what it is. So let me start off by talking about who we are and why in the world should you even listen to me and pay any attention to what it is that I'm talking about. So this is our organization. We are a nonprofit global NGO, and our work is how do we connect learning, education, community, and industry in a way that meets everyone's goals. It very much is about how to change the conversation on work and learning. And what does that look like today and especially tomorrow in what it is that we do. We connect the resources of education and industry and community together to recreate the conversations so that each of those 3 pillars can thrive and develop and grow in what they do. This is our core team. We are a small team, but we have individuals and volunteers to the hundreds in countries all over the world. That's part of how we do what we do so well. We have offices in Beijing, China. We have offices in Tokyo, and we just opened up offices in Podgorica in Montenegro in Europe. And the reason why we're all over the world is very simple. What has brought you here today in a business will not get you where you want to go in the future. It's a different type of conversation that needs to be had. The saying is, what got you here will not get you there. And that's part of what we talk about when we talk about how do you use gaming and esports to think differently about how you market, how you sell, and how you produce products and the things that you may do. So who we are, we're just not a nonprofit that talks and we create our own marketing and our own publicity. We actually have been evaluated, awarded, recognized, and verified by organizations all over the world. In the last few years alone, we received an award from something called 100.org, which is a global organization that gave us an award in 2023 and 2024 as the #1 gamification learning and workforce development program in the world. We also have received awards in education, and we have been reviewed and assessed by organizations as well, from education to industry. So you'll see Dr. Steinkuhler here. She is the leading researcher for the University of California who reviewed over 4 years what we do and how we impact business, sales, education, and learning. We also have been reviewed by and evaluated by the city of Busan in South Korea, which is where esports and gaming really started. And they spent a year reviewing our work to get an understanding as to how we are transforming conversations in the industry and in education. And recently, this past year, we actually were reviewed by an entity called AISTS, which is the education arm for the International Olympic Committee. So we have a variety of recognitions, awards, and evaluations that talk about who we are and what it is that we do. This is an example of where we teach, where we speak. We don't just provide opportunities for gaming and competition, but we do this type of activity to audiences as large as thousands of people, to being in a company or a classroom with sometimes 10 or 20 or 30 people. I actually like the intimacy of a small group because I can relate better to all of you in how we talk and what we talk about. So you could see last year we did a training in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We've done trainings in London. We've done them in Bali, in Indonesia, in Jakarta, in Tokyo, in Beijing, in Chengdu, in many places around the world. Because what we offer is something that is very different in how you approach learning and the combination of play and learning to have impact, whether it's in education or whether it's in corporate sales, in what it is that you market and you sell and you do. So here is something, and I'll ask Vincent to share a little bit to translate for me, because I know sometimes it's difficult. I'm going to talk about the 4 W's. Why, who, where, and when, so that you can understand how we are suggesting that you need to think differently on how you approach customers and clients. So Vincent, just take a minute and talk about the 4 W's in the native language for me.
刚刚 Gerald 提到呢，就是when 就是什么时候 ，who 就是对象where 就是地点，然后还有 why when yeah， 然后就是yeah.
Thank you. So part of what we're trying to do is go ahead and talk about, and I'm going to pull up my phone here because I want to look at something here, is I want to spend some time talking a little bit about the concept of transactions versus relationships. Who are you talking to? Why are you talking to them? What is it that they want? And the idea of how do you help them understand what it is that they need. Because those are the critical factors in relationship building for sustainability for sales and for transactions. So the first circle that you see here is capacity. Most people, here included, Look at what they do for transactions. You walk down an aisle, you meet a person here or somewhere else, and you say, I sell this, please take a look. I sell this, please take a look. Do you need this? Do you need this? Come in, take a look. What I'm suggesting to you, in what the research and the literature all show, is that is not the best approach to optimize sales and to build capacity. Building capacity is more than meeting metrics and goals and objectives on a quarterly Excel spreadsheet. It's about building capacity so that you have the ability to go ahead and have a customer not once or twice, but maybe for 5 or 10 years. And they will then tell their colleagues and their friends who are the marketing arm for you. As we all know, the best marketing is not what you do, but it's what someone says about who you are and what your product is. And building capacity is at the core of what we train and what we teach. And in order to do that, we have to build a culture within an organization. Thanks to global sources, they have the foresight and the appreciation and understanding to know that the concept of gamification and esports is a conversation that maybe some of us don't understand, but the people who are your next consumers, the next buyers of your products, the people who are the entry level and mid managers of your companies, play games. Technology is an appendage. It's part of who they are. They grew up with computers. They grew up with iPhones. They grew up with technology. Some of us did not. How do we help them understand the concept of what your company is all about? Because if you want to build your capacity as an organization and sell your products and extend your distribution, you need to first have a culture and an appreciation within your organization as to what that means and how do you go ahead and do that. And if you do that correctly, you will have impact. You will have impact financially, and you will be able to have impact socially within the organizations, not only yourselves and your partners, but the people that you want to be able to ultimately reach in the expansion of what it is that you do. We did that through education and training. We do it through experiential learning. And we do that through, ultimately, the idea of developing your workforce. So one of the things that we talk about is how many, and you may not be comfortable, but to the extent you can, please share with me, how many of you ever been in staff retreats or done staff trainings within your company or organization? A number of people have done that. That's part of how you continue to keep the culture, whatever that may be, alive. I'm going to suggest to you that the new culture to retain and develop the right kind of people you want is a different type of culture than what we traditionally are used to. And what does that mean? Finding something that connects joy and purpose and play with learning and sales. So when you look at who your sales force is, and look around in all of the exhibits here, all the exhibitors who are here, I may be wrong, but I would suggest that the average age of most of them are in their 20s or 30s. And that there are some, obviously, that are old like me, but most of them are much younger than I am. They are people who understand and appreciate the concept of work-life balance and the idea of connecting play and joy and purpose to what it is to motivate them to ultimately sell. Part of what we are doing as an organization is we are going into companies like Asus, Lenovo, Acer, MSI, XPG, LG, and instead of them doing standard training and organization, we are setting up gameplay and setting up opportunities for employees to build teams and do teamwork through gameplay, whether it's Rocket League or League of Legends or an FPS game, whatever it may be, because that's what people enjoy today. That's what they like to be able to do and what they're doing. We have set up, for example, in Japan alone, we work with one large company called Third Wave, which is the largest producer of laptops in Japan. They have about 45% of the industry. Their gross revenues are about $900 million a year. And we're in over 600 schools in Japan. And what we have done, and Third Wave owns a program, if you've been there, you may know the stores, called Galleria. Galleria are retail, tech, and computer stores. We have set up for them and all of their employees esport games and teams within each one of those stores so that they build camaraderie and teamwork so that they then internally at each store develop their own metrics and their own competitions on the sale of products, and they know their products because they use them to play their games. One of the challenges that exist oftentimes is people make products, but they don't understand why the end user uses it. What's the value? What does it do for me? Why do I want your product over a different product? If you play it and you understand it and you use it, it's a very different way to approach how you sell and how you engage a customer in the work that you do. The work that we do is about intentionality. It's about the idea of being able to thoughtfully and strategically think, how do I improve my verticals, my relationships, my opportunities to go ahead and sell product and to build a culture in what we do. It's leveraging concepts that make sense to students today, to individual workers, and to consumers. And if you think that we are just a fly-by-night organization, this slide suggests, besides the research, something very different. And that is that we have done this over 7,000 times around the world. We have built our programs and embedded our culture in 34 countries around the world. We touch, on the average, because most of our work is focused on university students and high school students building the pipeline into corporate and sales, over 250,000 people on any given day in the work that we do and how we do it. So I'm going to ask my colleagues to come up here. I need to take a breath. I want them to talk a little bit here on how this concept of what we call the ecosystem of gamification, of esports and gaming, works within education, and Jen will come and talk about that. And then Vincent will talk about it from the manufacturer perspective. If you were here yesterday, what Vincent and his company does, Unilumin, is they sell LED products all over the world. They're $1 billion company. How and why in the world do they care about gaming and esports? And what does this mean to them? They're going to share a little bit of their stories on how this can translate into what you do and how you do what you do. So Jen, if you don't mind, if you could start, that'd be great.
大家好，说中文可能不太理想，所以有时候会讲英文。我认识他的时候是2023年，我对电竞的那个Scholastic Esports 很有兴趣，因为我自己本身的女儿是游戏玩家，所以 Asian Mom 是一个很大的问题，因为读书时间，她家的外婆婆婆都找我麻烦。所以我就在想说，其实电竞跟 sports 有什么分别？真的没有事业、没有机会吗？所以我就碰到他来我的学校，就碰到这一点。所以其实我们看到的，就像那个我昨天的 example 是像篮球的 NBA， 我们知道的只是那些顶尖的球员，好像 Michael Jordan、Kobe Bryant 还是什么，但是他围绕他是一个整村的人。 这整村的人需要他们的学习，需要他们的学业，需要他们的机会。他们需要了解怎么把这些 professional player 提升到最高点。那这一些就是我们想要表达的。他们要的是什么？你可以 R&D 什么给他们，所以不要在那个世界讲说I feel like I have the product， 我有那一个产品，他们一定要需要。其实应该是换那个方向讲，他们做的东西是这样，他们需要什么，那你就有那个 relationship， 你就有那个 relationship， 才可以走更长的路。作为教师呢，很多人来跟我讲 ，Hey Jen， 你是个教师，不是成绩好最重要吗？但是你成绩好，他真的带你到事业上的成功吗？我对这一点还是有一点纠结。成功是不只是读书，因为他给你单方面的学习，是运用你的knowledge， 可能才会提高你的点。我不懂，我很老了，所以我觉得长到这么年轻的年纪，其实我的 knowledge 没有完全带我到我这个品牌那个 stage 上，所以最重要的是我怎么运用。所以我在学校，我的 colleague， 我的同事都对我的那个Esports 的那个认真都产生怀疑。但是支持我最支持我的人，其实不是小孩，是他们的家长。他们看得到有前途、有事业、有发展。所以为什么 as manufacturer, as exhibitor， 你们有没有那个 foresight to get into the game？昨天我也分享了，说 Esports 其实可以帮助人口老化的现象。我在今年我的妈妈意外出事，那从而看，我看到很多机会可以用 Esports 还是 gaming 还是那种来进那个hospital medical 来帮助他们。因为你没得运动，你受伤，你躺在那边，你没有运动。其实 Esports 可以让你想，让你做，让你联系别的地方的人。So it connects you to the world and keep you connected。这是我的想法。Well-being, entertainment， 太多了。一讲到来，你就可以发觉到，其实还有很多工作、事业方面。他们都是很有成就的人，所以我不需要做医学教授来变成 very successful。我在今年我碰到一个 lawyer， 他的特专是 Esports law case， 因为他是一个 multi-billion 的 industry， 所以他真的需要的是这些人。所以想法呢 ，educators 我觉得很大的潜能。就像好像我的 generation 手机，什么是手机都没有，对不对？但是手机一来了，它真的带领了很多变化，就像手机跟电脑跟 internet。不懂你们怎么想吧？
Thank you. In one of the reasons why Jennifer is part of our training and what we do is when you talk to the potential customers that you have, each year you have to, in most cases, repitch, remarket, and resell. The education field in esports is the #1 customer in the world. The market last year in esports was $1.9 billion. In 2029, it is forecasted to be $5 billion or more. 80% plus of that market is education, because that has the greatest number of reach of people, it has the greatest need, and it also has a sustainable budget. They always need technology, and they need systems to continue to train and educate. And once you build a relationship in education and you are an approved vendor, you generally, unless there is a problem, have a relationship that you've built that will stay with them for years to be able to come. And that is part of why the whole idea of education is such fertile ground and a future for sales and marketing within the technology world, and especially within esports. So how does this relate to you as vendors, you as salespeople? How do you think about what that can look like? So I'm going to ask Vincent here to give you some examples on how he would use this concept and how he sells and markets to an audience that generates revenues in excess of $1 billion a year.
Thank you, Gerald. 谢谢 Gerald。我再做一下自我介绍，我是 Vincent，来自周明科技。那我们是做 LED 显示和照明以及相关的解决方案的。那我们呢有电竞相关的解决方案。那我们就这个图上来看呢，我们更多呢是跟 organizer 更多的跟entrepreneur， 也就是跟电竞的组织以及电竞的企业进行合作，因为我们也是一家 B2B 的公司。我也很同意 Jennifer 刚才所说的，就是整个生态、整个 ecosystem 真的是非常非常的大，它包含了方方面面。可能在座的各位大家都是电竞游戏行业的，都可以从这个图上找到我们对应的占据的这一个niche 这样一个生态位。但是我还是想就这个图来延伸一下因为 Gerald 做这个图真的是非常好，然后他还专门就是说做了这个中英两版的。那其实就是我们看到在中心的永远是 players， 永远是 games， 永远是玩家，永远是游戏，这个其实是非常重要的。因为就算举我们自己的例子来说，我们是一个B2B 的公司，然后立志于为比如说像电竞场馆和赛事提供声光电一体化的解决方案。那是在最终去真正感受、去沉浸的使用我们的产品、我们的解决方案的人是玩家。是职业选手，也是买票入场的观众，这个我觉得是非常重要的。那你需要去了解职业选手，你需要去了解愿意买票到线下大赛观赛的观众，他们想要什么。当然，如果说我们能很好的服务于最终的群体，那我们就可以更好的来服务像举办赛事的企业，包括像电竞俱乐部种这些。那我也是想再稍微 paraphrase 一下Gerald 刚才说的，就是简单概括一下，就是因为生态系统真的很大很大。如果说我们能沉下心来，或者说有更多的机会去了解整个的生态系统，然后去深耕电竞的生态，有的时候我们所接触的，所以有的时候我们的机会不一定直接的给我们带来快速的收益，但是往往在长期往往比如说看3年到5年这样的维度下，会给我们带来不一样的收获。我分享就是这些，谢谢大家。
Thank you. So again, it's different than just a transaction. It's the idea of thinking beyond. So you look at what Vincent's company does, and they sell LED lights, the lights you see all around. But really what they do is they sell into all of these various pieces. So when Vincent and his sales force thinks about a customer, they don't think about just what their lighting needs are. They talk to the customer about event planning, about organization, about all the different pieces that you see up here, shoutcasting, streaming. How can we apply what our product is to the ecosystem that you need as an organization? How do you expand your customer base? By thinking beyond of what their immediate needs are and what we call the ecosystem around that. Part of what we do is we train people. As an organization, we have both online, what's called asynchronous classes, and we do live training. We are putting here in 1 hour what we would generally do over 8 hours or more in a day to give you just a flavor and a sense of how you can think differently about how you market, sell, build culture, and build opportunity for your organization and business. So here are very specific things that you can do. And instead of my reading through the list, I have set this up to ask Lawrence to come up here, and we're going to role play for a minute. And we're going to make believe that I am a vendor and he is a customer and he's walking down the aisle, and I'm going to approach him in a way that most people here approach. So,
Hi,我是 Lawrence， 然后今天将会在这里跟 Gerald 进行一场角色的扮演，他会真实的演绎我们就是平时会发生的销售以及真实的客户的沟通场景。然后现场的各位展商，如果这些场景您非常的熟悉，或者说您会看到这样一些不同类型的，也欢迎您可以来到我们的现场更多的参与。
So as Lawrence is walking by the aisle in front of our booth, hi, do you need one of these? Do you see what we have? We have chairs. We have laptops. We have...
Thank you. I don't want it because I think it's offensive and I don't want to too much.
Now, do you see that some people would look at that and say, wow, I am being too aggressive? And you saw him back off because I wasn't connecting with him. And instead of that, a different approach is, as you walk, hi,
Hello.
may I have a minute of your time?
Yeah, I think it should be okay.
Who do you represent? Where are you from?
I'm from China.
And what do you do?
I'm sourcing some high quality products for my company.
And who are your customers?
My customers is, some good, because I work for international school, so I wanted to buy some high quality products for our school gaming classroom, and I source this products for students. But I don't want to sourcing, because products are similar, but I want to find somebody they know what is esports, and they can help us to build this system.
So what is it that you want to accomplish? Whether I sell you a product or you buy from someone else here, how do you define success in not just the transaction, but the implementation of what you buy from me or someone else?
If I want to define the success, I think if you know the esports and you know who are my target audience, is better than just others. They just know their product and they don't know anything about my target audience. I think that's better.
Do you play games?
Yeah, I
What do you
play
play?
games. I play the Legenda, yeah, and some games in China like Wukong, yeah.
Do you play often?
I play not often, but I play in the last month, and yeah.
You have fun with it, I take it. You enjoy it.
Yeah, yes.
So you see the difference between my coming up to him and trying to push a product on him, and instead what I did was I took a few minutes to get to know who he is. Not just who he is, but what he wants, why he wants it, and what he's going to do with it, and how he will define success or the impact of what that product can do for his end user. I've begun to develop a relationship with him so that now I can either target my product and say, you know what, Lawrence, I think I can help you in reaching your goals on what you want to do as far as impact is concerned. Let me show you what it is that I think works for you. And then I escort him and walk him to our product line, and I share with him some options and ideas. He may say, great, I like some of these things. Can we have a further conversation? So now we're building the relationship. Or he may say, you know what, this is really not what I'm looking for. And then that allows me to go to, my competitor or my colleague who sells the same or similar product and say, you know what, Lawrence, let me introduce you to this individual here. And I think they can help you better than I can help you. So what I've just done is I have built trust. I've gotten him to understand that I care about him as much as I care about wanting to complete the transaction. And I've also helped a colleague who will then be able to say thank you to me, hopefully. And in turn, when they have a situation like this that may not work, they would cross-refer in. That's called collaboration. That's called being able to work in an industry or a field together for the benefit of the customer or the client. Thank you, Lawrence, for being up here.
Thank you.
We talk about learning esports. The idea is, as I shared earlier, so many people who sell products really have no idea why their product is better than another for the particular gaming or esport audience. So if I'm selling a keyboard, or I'm selling a mouse, or I'm selling a laptop, or I'm selling LED lights, if I don't ask questions, I have no idea what you want. And if I can't speak your language, then it's even worse because I have no credibility. And all I'm doing is selling a product that has zero value or meaning to you because I don't show you respect, I've not built trust, and I don't understand what your needs are. So part of what I shared earlier is the idea of recreating your own organizational culture. If you want to sell within the gaming world, you need to understand what gaming is, what esports is, and what the major audiences are. And the major audiences are education, government, and big facilities like arenas. They are not the standard customer or client that you are accustomed to selling to. It's a different language, and it's a different world in what you do. Second point, how does the product benefit you as a customer? You saw the interchange between Lawrence and myself, where I asked him questions. What do you want the product for? What does your end user want the product for? How can I make you look good in front of your customers? What's the benefit to them and the ultimate user? And then how do you recreate your messaging? Instead of standing around and pushing a product and saying, here's a catalog, if you want to get into gaming and esports, you need to have variations of what your marketing materials and messaging are. So, Vincent, let me ask you. You sell to multiple audiences. You sell to esports arenas. You sell to corporate entities. How do you change around your pitch or your marketing? How do you figure that out for yourself as an organization?
Right. Thank you, Gerald. Well, this is a huge question, obviously, and 我首先想说呢，就是Gerald 刚才问，就是对于我个人或者说我们来说，我们是如何向电竞的一些组织机构以及这个用户去做一些推销，或者说是如何去推广我们的产品或者解决方案。我简单来说的话，就是我也想结合 Gerald 的 PPT 来说的话，就是每一个 customer， 每一个user organization 都是不一样的你需要去了解。那他们如果是电竞的话，你需要去了解他们所做的电竞是什么样子的，他们的项目是什么样的，是哪一款游戏。我觉得这个其实在一开始跟他们建立关系、建立链接的时候是非常重要的。因为我曾经比如说跟一些游戏公司或者说是一些电竞俱乐部聊的时候如果说我能一开始就告诉他，我其实不用赘述了，我已经知道，我甚至我自己有经验去玩过这个游戏，或者说是我知道你们所做的大概的这些事情的话，其实还是很好的一个 icebreaker。因为对很多游戏和电竞的从业者来说他们其实不希望重复的去 讲游戏是什么，电竞是什么，是哪一个项目。因为这个是很多从业者可能从小到大都对身边人一直在做的这么一件事情然后如果说你能跟他们感到就是有这样的共同点，就是你是游戏从业者，你是电竞从业者，你是做这个项目的，你在这个生态里面做这个联赛，那我也懂这个游戏，我也玩这个游戏然后我觉得这个是很好的一个开始，甚至有的时候可能用 AI 或者是用 YouTube 简单搜一下如何快速入门某一款游戏，或者是某一个联赛、某一个电竞产品这样我觉得其实还是蛮有帮助的
Thank you. So how do we start? So some of this may be new to you, and some of this may be frightening and scary to you. What do I do? How do I begin this concept if I want to enter the esports and gaming market to sell my products? Well, besides your messaging and marketing, one of the things that you can do is create a space for people to experience your product. If you have keyboards, if you have a mouse, if you have monitors, whatever it may be, whatever your product is, if you have the physical space, create an opportunity for people to come in and actually play with your product. Use your product. Let them get a feel and an understanding of how that product fits for them. Create opportunities for even multiple customers to come in at a given time and do an opportunity for an evening where you might host them and have them come and play and compete and try out whatever it is that your product is.
Hi Gerald,
And-
let me hop on to that one. 其实我每个月就会跟NASEF 的 community， 记得它有7000多个地方跟着，所以每个月我们就有一个 online meeting。所以在 meeting 的时候就会聊他们需要什么，会有什么好的那个方式来了解你的产品。所以其中一个人就跟我讲说，其实简单的 sponsorship will help， 因为学生一接触到你们的产品，下一个东西是他们喜欢上，他们自己本身也会去买。所以这就是放长线钓大鱼的那种想法。所以好像brand loyalty 这个我就不懂中文是什么。brand loyalty 就是他们
品牌的忠诚度，
对他们了解你的产品，试用你的产品，好像 Apple， 如果你叫我 Apple 的手机我没有的话，我完蛋了，我不懂什么其他的手机可以利用。所以最重要的就是那个产品的那个 loyalty
忠诚度。
好的，所以希望你们可以这样想想，因为你的 marketing costs。有 salesperson cost 可能就可以免掉。很多我来自国际学校，好像我自己本身的国际学校有18间学校，但是我知道有某些国际学校他们的组织更多间，所以就是 target 那种建立那种关系。Sorry, Gerald.
No, thank you. It's part of the conversation we're trying to have here. So the idea is, how do you connect your line, your product, with the ultimate user? How do they feel comfortable, safe, secure, trust what it is that you create, and be comfortable enough to come back time after time after time after time, and especially in the education market, which is a multi-billion-dollar market. Because if you want to get into gaming and esports, that's the future of your market. That's where you need to focus your time and attention on, because that's the sustainable budget. That's what government funds, and that's where people are spending money in order to be able to buy the products that you sell. And over again, as your products age, they want the next iteration and the next generation of what that is. And it's building those relationships. So what we do is a little bit of what you see here, but on a much deeper level. We create an opportunity to have an initial strategic conversation and consultation where we as a nonprofit don't charge for that. We get to know who you are, what it is that you want. How can we help you? Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. It depends upon what that looks like. And then we create packages. We'll create trainings. We'll help you define clubs. Imagine what it's like if you're selling in a large region or in a small community, that you become the leader of gaming and esports in your community because you now have set up an esports and gaming league for school, for professional teams, for universities, and for corporations and companies to help them rebuild their culture. So you have multiple verticals and opportunities now to sell your product within the world of esports and gaming. We help train your sales teams. How do people here get to know what esports is about and how to talk about that? That's part of what we do as well in the work that we get done, that we do. We also go ahead and we create landing pages for you so that if you truly want to sell to esport programs, whether it be in school or companies or large professional organizations, you need to have visibility. We know how to do that. That's part of what it is that we do. And here's an example of what we've done with Acer Computers, where we help them develop their pages on their website as well as ours to drive people to understand how you can use gaming and esports to sell your products and to satisfy the needs of the end user and the consumer. This is a slide I refer to often. You are smart to be here. I commend you. Esports is a $1.97 billion industry today. As I said earlier, it will be a $5 billion industry in the next 5 years. I assume you want a piece of that. You want to be able to expand your sales force, your brand, your opportunity. What we do and what we talk to Mimi and Lawrence and others and John here about is how can we help you understand what the new markets are? Because the old markets will not exist in the next few years. How do you transition your product line and the way you market and sell to the next customer? Because they think differently than the customers you've had for the last 10 years. And one of the things that we can do is we actually can set up competitions and leagues for you. These are examples of some of the things we've done around the world. We set up for John Deere, an agricultural company, huge manufacturer in agriculture, a program called FarmCraft. We had last year over 11,000 participants in 71 countries. What a great sales force opportunity for them to show their wares and how they market and sell to the world for what they do. We do things with Rocket League. We do other kinds of things. I'm talking to Mimi and John and people here now about how for October or in the future, how can we create a competition here where all of you could compete and learn about gaming and esports and actually try and win prizes here and create a different kind of community and culture for global sources. They are progressive. They think about you. They think about your needs. They think about what you want and how they can help you. And that's part of what we're trying to do here is to introduce ideas to you for you to think about ways in which you can continue to grow and evolve in the work that you do. These are some of the countries we're working with now and some of the partners, just to give you an example of our global reach and the work that we do. Again, to leave you with some ideas, the ultimate objective that we suggest you do, whether you sponsor a league, whether you create internal competitions and leagues amongst your staff, ultimately what you're doing is you're creating a hands-on experience, what we call a learning laboratory, a place where people, internal stakeholders, external stakeholders, customers, can play, try out your equipment. Not just 5 minutes walking down an aisle, but how can they actually have hands-on opportunity to understand the value of what it is that you create and produce? How do you create credibility within your community, whether it's local or regional or international, that you care not only about the sale, but you care about the person and their ultimate goal? Because that is ultimately what's going to retain and develop what it is that you want to achieve as an organization. And how do you partner with your competitors? For some people, that's very hard. They don't want to talk to their competitors. But as you saw in the interaction that Lawrence and I had, If I can't satisfy that consumer need, then my next question is, how can I help you? I am skilled enough within this field that if I can't help you, I can help you find someone who can. And then I help them, and what I've done is built goodwill with that customer, even though I couldn't make that sale, and they will come back to me because now they trust me. Now they know that I'm interested in who they are and what their needs and what their interest is. That's part of how we have to redefine how we think about marketing and selling. The objective and the goal is to be all things esports to your customers in what you do. So I would suggest that what you do is learn about us, go to our website at nasef.org and sign up. All of our resources are free online. We are a nonprofit, nasef.org. You can learn about us and contact us in the work we do. The last thing, if you do what we tell you to do, is we will be able to bring your products to life. That's critical. It's not just a piece of hardware. It's not just a thing. It's a product that lives. And how do you make it live? How do you build relationships? How do you enhance your brand? How do you help create value in what it is that you do? Selling is an experience. Selling is a relationship. It is not a transaction. That's part of what we're trying to share with you in what you do. So I thank you very much for your time. I'll be around to answer questions if you have any. And if you need anything, please feel free to contact Global Sources who can connect us, or you can reach us at info@nasef.org. And thank you for your time.